Welcome to Trailblazers and Titans with your host, Dr. Keith Haney. Trailblazers and Titans is your go-to podcast for insights, inspiration, and actionable advice from the world's most successful entrepreneurs and leaders. Each episode features in-depth interviews with industry pioneers, innovative thinkers, and business moguls who share their journeys, challenges, and strategies for success. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned leader, or someone looking to make a significant impact, this podcast provides the tools and motivation to blaze your trail and become a titan in your field. Tune in to learn, grow, and transform your vision into reality.
My guest today, Alara Sage, helps conscious entrepreneurs transform the energetic blocks into breakthrough wealth by bridging ancient wisdom, quantum mechanics, and business strategy. Her own journey from six-figure success to total loss and profound rebirth uniquely positions her to guide visionary leaders to creating unprecedented wealth alignment. As host of the Wealth Embodied podcast, Alara reveals how today's conscious leaders can harness their creative life force energy to build legacy enterprises that transform both business and humanity. We welcome her to the podcast. Well, welcome to the podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to have you on. Looking forward to talking to you.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So I'm going to ask you my favorite question. What's the best piece of advice you ever received?
Oh, I received advice to just pause and breathe into my body throughout my day. Just take a moment to stop, take a nice deep breath, and then carry on forward. And that little break really brings you back into that moment, pulls you out of whatever you're doing and brings you back into the now.
That's really good advice, because sometimes you just gotta let things go, not internalize everything, but just kind of give yourself space to just kind of sit in it for a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. As you think about your life, who are some people in your life who served as a mentor or maybe an inspiration for you on your journey?
It's funny because I haven't had many of those. In fact, when I was a child, people had, all my life actually, not just as a child, people have had people that they look up to, that they have be inspired by, and I just simply haven't really had that. I'm kind of an anomaly in that sense. I have had mentors and they've been wonderful, but my teachings have come through my relationship to life, to God, to Source. And that has really always been the whisper in my ear, the driving force, the thing that has fueled my actions and my life.
Wow, that's interesting. Sometimes those mentors are very helpful, but sometimes experience is the best teacher, someone said, I think. Some philosopher, if I remember.
Yeah, that's actually in what's called the Gene Keys. I'm an experiential learner. So I learn through trying things out. Everything has to be my original idea. So when things come from other people, it's like, okay, that sounds cool. But if it's not really coming from me, and then I try it out, everything I do, I live, I breathe, and then I learn through that process. So I think, just as you said, experience is the best teacher, is truly my teacher.
I love that. So let's talk about your journey from six-figure success. What were some of the key moments that shaped that path for you?
Well, I went from six figures to debt.
Right.
Back to six figures. I had six figures. This was in 2021. Had my business that I love and adore. It's the business that I have now. And from the outside, everything seemed perfect. And yet I had this little voice in my head that was like, get more money. It's not enough. You need to get more money. Even though I had multiple six figures in the bank account, six-figure business, like what did I need more for? And that little voice was really consuming my actions. I'm not an anxious person in any way, shape, or form, but I found myself really like, oh, I need to get more. And it led me down this path of being scammed, which, I would have said before that would never happen to me, because you think you can spot scams a mile away.
Right.
This was actually through a mentor that was referred to me by somebody. So, quote unquote, been referred, had the trust factor there, and he stole all my money through crypto.
Wow. This is why you don't trust mentors, right?
Yeah, that's not why I don't trust mentors, but I just found it ironic that we were talking to that. Yeah, so, I literally watched my bank account go to zero, and I collapsed to the floor for a moment of disbelief and grief and shock and all the emotions that happen when you lose all of your money. And I said, you know what, this is fine. Like, I have been able to always throughout my entire life create what I want. Even when I was a child, my family was always like, how do you do it? You just want something and you get it. Like, it's magical. And so I was like, I'll just create it all back again. But Keith, I still wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to where that voice was coming from. Why did I feel this angst around money? What did I feel like, even though I had plenty, it wasn't enough? I wasn't looking at any of that. So I just went about like creating it all back again. And the universe, as I am an experiential learner and I am here to learn, was like, you're not done with this lesson. Obviously, you're not really listening. And so instead of recreating my business or recreating my wealth, my business collapsed. And I went into debt for the first time in my life. And that's when I really paused. That was my moment of like, wait a second here. What's really going on? Like, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. There's something else here. And I was really shown through, my connection to source in my spiritual journey, my relationship to money, and that it was dysfunctional. And, humans have a dysfunctional relationship to money where we have this codependency and yet this detachment, right? We want the money, we don't want it, we bring it in, we want to push it away. And when I really sat with it and I actually spoke to the spirit of money, I saw, my dysfunctional relationship with it, There wasn't a place of love. It was a place of give me what I want, now go away. I like you, but I don't like you. I like you, but I have negative thoughts and beliefs about you. Like, if it was a person, that would be very toxic.
Right.
And, we tend to think, oh, well, okay, yeah, of course you should have a healthy relationship with humans, but who needs to have a healthy relationship with money, right? It's not a being, but it's energy. And your relationship to money will reflect how you show up in other areas of your life as well. Relationship is relationship. We have, one primary relationship, but that's our relationship to God's source. And everything other than that is a, fractal of that primary relationship. So, this was a really big transformation for me, because it wasn't just about money. It was about relationship in general. But when I was able to really look at it and be like, wow, yeah, money, I don't love you. And not like obsession love, but like love, like grateful, like love, like I appreciate you, like love that I can honor something that is representative of a currency of creative life force energy and humanity. So I really shifted my core beliefs around money, that it's greedy, all these negative things that we've been taught and told. And I really came to this really loving relationship with money, that I honor it. I don't need to be obsessed with it, not this lust, not this greed, but I can have that reverence for its power and for, it's here to amplify and impact humanity. And we can use that however we want. We can use that negatively or we can use that positively. And so after transforming my relationship with money, I was able to recreate all of my wealth, but it feels completely different now. That little voice that it's not enough is completely gone. And instead, I have this beautiful relationship to money everywhere I go.
I love that. We talk about that, especially in the church, that because the Bible says that money is not the root of, that's not evil. Love of money is the root of all evil. So it's not the money itself that's the problem. It is, like, you talk about the relationship you have with it. Does it obsess your life? Does it dominate your thinking? Are you seeking after it in a way that is unhealthy? I remember the parable where the rich young ruler gets all of this. He's like, good, I got this. I'm going to build bigger barns now, and then I'm going to party. And then he dies. So, it's like that's not exactly the lesson you were supposed to learn. Kind of what you talked about. It's like, I didn't learn the lesson. I am curious. I love this concept. I've heard some other people talk about this. Explain what you mean by conscious entrepreneurs.
Yes, so conscious entrepreneurs, it's kind of similar to what we're speaking to, where, everything becomes an act of love. That we are here to not just sell something, right? We're here to create an impact, whether that is small or big. And, that impact is unique to each one of us. And conscious entrepreneurs, we really come from a place of our hearts and our genius and wanting to, whatever way we can, make a positive impact for humanity through that. So in conscious entrepreneurship, every single thing that we do, it's about why are we doing it, right? Like, I don't do anything for money. I don't do anything to get anything. I don't do anything to get validation, to get love, to get attention. I do something because I feel driven. It feels alive. I know that it is here for me and for humanity. And that is why I do, like, literally everything. Everything I do, I take that pause, I breathe. Why am I doing this? What is my true, raw, honest intention behind this? And I make sure that all of those are coming from that place of service to myself as the provider and service to all of humanity. And that's conscious entrepreneurship.
So how do you help people discover that, who are maybe on the path you were on before, where it's like, I need more. How do you begin to shift the mindset to go, there's something deeper, something bigger here? And how do you help teach those lessons?
It's all about embodiment. So, even though I was fairly embodied at that time, I'm much more embodied now. Those thoughts come with emotions, and they come with sensations. And those sensations, our emotions, are a signaling device. They're here to tell us whether what we're believing, what we're thinking is true or is not true. And not true as in society, it's true as in God, because that's what the emotions are. They're an emotional guidance system. They're supposed to tell us resonance is what we are believing in resonance to God's love, to Source's love. And so it's about really tuning in. Remember, like I said, taking those breaths, feeling, okay, I'm having this thought. What does that thought how does it make me feel in my body? Oh, it makes me feel tense. Like that thought of like, it's not enough. It was this angst. It was this like, I'm not enough, right? Like whatever, it's not enough. I need to do something more. Like that's not love, right? That's fear. That's not enoughness. That's shame. Shame was largely driving that in my ship, as it does for all humans. So we start with the body, and we start to recognize when those thoughts are churning in your head, how are you really feeling about those thoughts? And what do you want to feel? And what is the belief associated with that thought? Of course, it'd be that I am enough, right?
Right.
That I am enough, that who I am, just being me, is enough. And I can create from that enoughness rather than that not enoughness and that lack. And when we create from enoughness, we experience enoughness. We experience bountifulness, abundance, overflow. When we create from lack and scarcity, well, you either create lack or scarcity, or you do what I do and you just blow it all into smithereens.
Right, exactly.
So it's about the body and about learning how to connect our mind to our body and the wisdom that is held there.
I love it. So tell us about your podcast, Wealth Embodiment Podcast. What led you to start that?
Well, I love to talk. I love to have conversations like this, Keith. I have guests as well. And I'm here to bring a message. I'm here to bring a message that we are all wealthy. We are all connected to the infinite abundance of the universe of God's love. And that doesn't mean that we all experience that. And so what do we need to do to open ourselves to that love so that we can embody those energies and bring that forth? So the podcast is really about that message and, of course, wanting to bring that impact to humanity.
So we all have our favorite show or episode. Is there an episode of your podcast that just stands out as like, this is my favorite, and why is that?
Oh, these are so funny questions for me because I don't do favorites either. I'm like a not favorite person. I'm like, I don't have a favorite. Nor do I remember. I live very much in the moment, so I don't even remember the last episode that I did.
Yeah, I have trouble with that sometimes too, actually.
Yay, I'm not alone.
No.
But I'll just say the last one was really good. I know that for sure.
There you go. So what was the last one about?
I don't remember.
That's just so funny. As people tune in your podcast, we talked a little bit about, you want to kind of share your wisdom with them. What do you hope they walk away from after delving into your podcast?
That's a really beautiful question. For one, I hope they feel inspired and activated. I'm not here to beat around the bush. I have a razor sharp love that cuts, because sometimes we need to look into a mirror. We need to really address what's going on, like I needed to. And so I want them to feel, oh, wow, okay, that slapped me, that woke me up to something that maybe I was aware of and I wasn't really owning, because that's where change really happens, is when we are from a place of loving awareness. No shame, no guilt, no judgment, but loving awareness, really owning how we're showing up in life.
I love that. As you think about your working with people who are on this journey with you, what are some common hindrances or challenges that you run across that you help people kind of overcome?
Another beautiful question. As I mentioned earlier, shame. Shame is a big one, because we have a lot of shame around money. We have a lot of shame around wealth. We have a lot of shame around having more than other people. We have a lot of shame around power. And while money is not power, money amplifies power. And we see in our society a lot of people who have power and money, and they don't do good things. And there are people who do, of course, but there's kind of a lot of emphasis on the ones who don't. And so we have a lot of shame around it. We hold that shame, and shame is a diabolical energy. It is the nearest frequency to death, and it shuts you down to who you really are. It shuts you down to that stream of love that desires to flow through you. And I am just here to help people, dissolve that back into that frequency of love, so that they can, I want people to be embodied in that wealth so that they can go out and give it, share it. Money is a currency. It wants to flow. It does not want us hoarding and hanging on. It wants to circulate and flow. And there's plenty of money on the planet. So if we all were really able to move out of shame and into worthiness, move out of shame and into love, and let that flow circulate through us, humanity would be in a very different place.
It's funny you mentioned the word shame, because I remember studying the culture of America versus the culture of like the Middle East. In the Middle East, shame is a huge factor in so many decisions that are being made. I also noticed that another one that's really strong in America, especially around wealth, is guilt. People who, I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs who, when I listen to television, it's like people try to make billionaires and millionaires feel guilty for what they have. You didn't deserve this. You didn't earn this. You stole this. And because you should feel guilty about it, you should give it away, or you shouldn't have it. So you talked about shame. Talk about the power too of guilt when it comes to money.
Yes. So guilt is very much, an internal perspective of self, and it sits in our heart. And, nobody wants you to give them something because you feel guilty. Like, I don't want you to come buy my services because you feel guilty. I don't want you to spend money because you feel guilty. I want you to spend money because you feel joy. And whatever we're in, whatever emotion we're in, everything is energy. This is being scientifically proven now. When you spend money, but you feel guilt, you're just circulating guilt. You're giving guilt along with your money. It's riding the currency of your money. So it's really important to understand, do you want to be receiving money through love or guilt? Do you want to be spending money through love or through guilt. Because again, money is an amplifier. Whatever you are in, it will take that energy and amplify. Like it did to me. It was amplifying my lack. It was amplifying my not enoughness, right? Until I shifted that. And now it amplifies my love. Don't we want it to amplify our love? So recognizing that, you don't help other people by not having money.
Right.
You don't help people who are suffering by, slicing your arm and causing yourself pain. How does that help anybody? It doesn't. You would actually help more people by embodying wealth and finding ways that you can bring that amplification of your love, of your desire to assist humanity through that currency.
Yeah, I like that. And you make good points there, because I know people who've given me things because they were guilty, and it's like neither of us felt good about it. They didn't feel good giving it away, and I didn't feel good receiving it because it was guilty.
No. Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Like here,
you
just take it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I love that. So you talk about in your work, this work that you do, the principles of quantum mechanics. What role does that play in business success? Because you tie those together.
Absolutely. So quantum mechanics is the understanding that in this moment, everything exists. And so there's pure potential. And again, this is scientific. We collapse time-space through the observer. We are the observer of our reality. And through observing our reality, we collapse it down to one experience, one life, one timeline. And you collapse it via your belief structures. So again, back to my story, I was believing that it wasn't enough. And so what did I create? I created zero. I created debt, right? Like that's a perfect example of quantum mechanics in a way you don't want it to happen, where you are believing something so powerfully that you are collapsing time space down into that reality. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because that's real. So we can also do the reverse of that. We can learn how to recognize what we desire, right? Like if you want, again, to embody wealth, and really the beliefs are one of the aspect, but again, we were speaking about emotions before, because emotions are energy. And when we feel something, our entire body is vibrating in that energy. And this is known in biology and epigenetics. Okay. Our cells are programmed by signals that they receive. And one of the most profound signals that our cells receive are our emotions that are rooted in our beliefs. So when you want to think about, creating a business that is conscious entrepreneurship, that is from a space of love, you want to really envision yourself being that version of you and really feel it. Like what would your life look like? What would it feel like to be an entrepreneur that has so much money and that is circulating that in ways that it feels like every act that you do is making an impact from a state of love, and you are helping to transform humanity? Like I immediately start lighting up at this feeling of love and joy and this energy. And so when you do that, you are signaling that that is what you believe. And in the realm of quantum mechanics, you are basically in resonance to the version of you that exists here now in this moment that is living that life. And so you begin to, if you do that consistently, you begin to bring that timeline into this timeline, and you become that person. It's a shift of identity.
Interesting. So I'm curious now, I can't see you kind of sitting still, not doing something next. So what's on the horizon for you?
I'm always creating. I'm writing a book right now. I'm constantly, in my business creating new programs and offers. I really am in a state of pure ecstatic bliss in my days. So I am really dancing, I'm going out in nature, I'm doing all the things that really light me up. And from that state, I create just really immaculate things. So I continue to be in that state, in a state of unknown, in a state of curiosity and kind of that childlike wonder. And everything comes from that state. So I don't really know beyond what is happening right now, what is for me, but it will be, and it will be really beautiful.
That's awesome. I also love to ask my guests this question. What do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, again, just this understanding that we are source energy and we are inexhaustible, and we can rid our planet of this suffering and this belief that there's not enough money and there's not enough food and there's not enough of these energies. And that transition doesn't come through politics. It comes through us and deciding that we're going to first shift ourselves and that ripple effect. And so that's what my legacy is about.
That's great. So where can listeners find you and connect with you on social media?
Alara Sage. Everything is at Alara Sage.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and this has been it was an interesting conversation, and I love what you do, and I love the energy you bring. So continue to be a blessing to those you come in contact with.
Thank you so much, Keith. This was a really fun conversation. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Trailblazers and Titans. If you enjoyed our conversation and found value in the insights shared, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us reach more listeners and continue bringing you the stories of the world's most inspiring leaders. Don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and exclusive content. Join our community of Trailblazers and Titans, and let's continue to learn, grow, and transform our visions into reality together. Until next time, keep blazing your trail and striving for greatness.